Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Miss Tina. Good morning, everyone. First of all, let us thanksgiving to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for giving us the grace so that we can gather in this time. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anastasya Putri, who will serve as moderator in this discussion of inquiry-based learning. The member of my group is Muhammad Fikri Andieka Putra, Tarisa Nurmayada, and Lelly Jahrina. All right. Let's just start with the first session. The first session is introduction and will be start by myself. Through experience and explorations. The learning process of this method begins with students making a hypothesis and testing the hypothesis. Then students are required to be active in the process of finding the information, and in that process, students can develop and find a high understanding of the hypothesis or topic. This method is important for students because it can provide certainly that students do not only memorize the information, but students get effect to develop meaning, question, and information. And this method helps students to be active and build the critical thinking and gain new knowledge and define the knowledge in different ways. And next is Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy. This is a cognitive level that can help students to identify and categorize good questions. There are 6 cognitive levels. There are remembering. Remembering is student recall effects and basic concepts that student define and duplicate or memorize the information. And 2 is understanding. Understanding is student explain ideas or the concepts. And 3 is applying. Applying is student use the information in this learning process, like implement and solve the informations or problems. And 3 is applying. Applying is the student is execute or solve or demonstrate the information that they get. And 4 is analyzing. Analyzing is students draw a connection among one ideas to another ideas, and they can find the difference in the one informations. And 5 is evaluating. Students justify a stand or decision. Students judge or select or find a support meaning in this information that they get. And last is creating. Student creating or produce a new or original work and design the new lives in the different way. And next is principle of inquiry-based learning methods, and this session will be explained by Tarisa.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. In this session, I will present about the principle of inquiry-based learning method. In the 2013 curriculum, inquiry-based learning is highly recommended to be implemented in classroom learning. Here, the teacher has an important role to provide stimulation for students in order to develop their potential to be more active and understand the learning material delivered by the teacher. In addition, the role of educators in this inquiry-based learning method is very necessary to motivate students in solving problems that occur during the learning process. With the role of educators who motivate students, it is hoped that students will be able to be active and creative in the learning process and solve problems. According to Sanjaya 2014, there are 5 the principles of using inquiry-based learning strategies. that are first is oriented to intellectual development. The main objective of the inquiry strategy is the development of thinking skills. Thus, this learning strategy is not only oriented to learning outcomes, but also oriented to the learning process. Learning with this method doesn't only focus on result, but focuses more on the learning process. And the second is principle of interaction and collaboration. The learning process is basically an interactive process. Both interactions between students and interaction between students and teacher, and even interaction between students and the environment. Teachers must be able to motivate students to collaborate with friends in their groups, as well as with other friends in their class to achieve the learning objectives to be achieved. The third is principle of asking. The question asked by the teacher as a learning facilitator are very important. This must be done so that students are encouraged to think and can develop their cognitive abilities. Meanwhile, the question asked by students show how deep they think. The better the quality of the question asked by student, the better the inquiry-based learning carried out by the teacher. This question must be searched by student for solution and answer, because inquiry-based learning is learning that helps students develop their own knowledge based on their curiosity, the principle of learning to think. The fourth is the principle of learning to think. Learning is not just remembering a number of facts, but learning is a process of thinking or learning how to think. Namely, the process of developing the potential of the whole brain, both the left brain and the right brain. When students are given stimulation at the beginning of learning, curiosity will arise in them. It shows what they think. When they ask questions, it shows that they are curious as well as thinking. Furthermore, the teacher just direct them to satisfy their curiosity and continue the tough process so that they independently and on their own desire find relevant knowledge and facts. And the last is the principle of openness. Learning is a process of trying various possibilities. Everything is possible. Therefore, student needs to be given the freedom to try according to the development of their logical and reasoning abilities, because the teacher is not the only source of information and also not the main source of information. Information and knowledge will be obtained by students from the opportunities provided by the teacher to explore things that students want to know more deeply. The openness of how students find and where to find the information they need is also an important principle in this inquiry-based learning. Each group of students may use different methods as well as different sources of information during the learning process. That's all from me. I'll return it to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Tarisa, for the explaining. Next is teachers and student roles that will be explained by Fikri.
Thank you, Anastasia. Okay, in here I will explain both teacher and student roles in inquiry-based learning. The first is role teacher. Role teacher, the curriculum carried out in the recent years has focused on a teacher-centered approach that is more student-centered. The role of a teacher in inquiry-based learning is more or less as a mentor or facilitator for his students. Some of the teacher's roles in inquiry-based learning, such as first, take risks. The example of take risk is not afraid to make decision. The teacher, of course, must be brave in making a decision. In this method, the teacher must be able to foster or mentor students to dare to take risks, because in this method, most learning is done by actively answering and asking questions, thinking critically, and also observing things. The second is expose and develop students to new ideas. In this learning, a teacher must be able to make students develop their idea by asking some question and student opinion about a thing, or giving a problem, then trying the student to develop idea to be able to solve the problem. The third is help encourage student interest in learning something. A teacher must be able to encourage the interest of his student. In this learning, the teacher must be able to provide an interesting theme to be questioned. And also the teacher must be able to create or provide some question that makes students think critically and develop their idea. Uh, the fourth is helping students in finding valid information. In this learning, a teacher not only gives some quality question to students in observing or analyzing a thing. However, a teacher must be able to monitor and also check the work of his student, and must be able to provide some valid information or knowledge in helping students complete their observation. And the last is support student on learning time management skill. Observing or analyzing something really take a long time. The role of a teacher is to be able to teach or tell students to be able to save time as well as possible, and also provide tips or quick way to solve a problem. And the student role. Recent learning is for students to be active in learning, starting from exploring, arguing, critical thinking, and others. The more students ask questions, the deeper the information they will get. The role of student in inquiry-based learning, such as is first, have an open mind. A student must be open-minded and broad, and be able to express an argument in this learning. The role of student is very important to be active in asking questions, making decision, and thinking quickly. Student must be active in asking questions in this learning, because the more someone asks, the more information he gets. The second is take risk. The example of student in take risk is don't be afraid to fail. The role is very important for student and teachers. Student must dare to take risks, such as not being afraid to fail, afraid to be wrong in filling out the answer to question, or afraid to feel like they will fail in this lesson. The third is think creatively. Student must be able to think positively and creatively. The role of student with him has creative thinking. He can develop lots of good ideas to use. Of course, this will also be very helpful for teacher. And the last is student must have a high enthusiasm for learning. Student must be a high enthusiasm for learning, because with a high enthusiasm for learning, student can make the learning atmosphere more exciting and fun. This role is also very important for students to always be comfortable in carrying out learning activities. That's all for me. Back to moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fikri, for the explanations. And next is the applications of inquiry-based learning, and will be explained by Lelly Jahrina.
Okay, thank you, Anastasia, for the opportunity. And here I will present about the application of inquiry-based learning. According to Edwin Patton, 1967, there are 6 main steps in applying the method of inquiry-based learning, as described below. Number 1 is identify problems. At this stage, students identify problems that are relevant to the subject matter. Then one of them is selected and formed in the form of a hypothesis. The goal is the student can identify and analyze the problem. Number 2 is design hypothesis. This step consists of an introduction to what needs to be done to solve the problem that exists in the field. Number 3 is identify hypothesis. And this step purpose is to provide direction when carrying out research definition. Number 4 is collecting data and information. The function of the step is to answer the hypothesis to prove whether the hypothesis that has been made is true or not. By collecting information and data, observing object, or doing the test with the object. Okay, number 5 is analysis data and information. This step is proposed to categorize and select data and information that is relevant to the research, which is function as a concept formation and generalization. And the last is evaluating hypotheses based on data. This step purpose is to evaluate the hypothesis based on the data and information that has been obtained and at this stage. After that, the students start or state the generalization of the research. Okay, that is the step of applying method of inquiry-based learning. Okay, I will do the simulation. In here, I have one group that consists 3 persons. The first is Anastasya, the second is Tarisa Nurmayada, and the third is Fikri. I am here as a teacher. I will give you one text and you decide what kind of the text that I have given. Is the text is narrative or the text is descriptive? And I will send the text in WhatsApp group. Okay, the time is yours to discussion about this text.
Sorry, Miss. The first we will to read the text first.
Okay, the time is yours.
Okay, team. After we read the text, I get identify that text is descriptive text. What do you think?
Okay, Anastasia, based my knowledge, in my opinion, from the text, text is, in my opinion, it is descriptive text. Is a text that describes something, be it people or things, event or place. I think from the meaning of the text.
What another facts about the descriptive text, Tarisa?
Pardon? I'm sorry. I can hear clearly.
Another facts about the descriptive text.
I'm sorry. I agree with the explanation from Fikri. In the part when the writers is in the cafe, he explained in detail about the atmosphere and behavior of the visitor who came to the cafe. So that's include to descriptive text.
So many facts in the text define the text is descriptive text. Descriptive text. So I compare the narrative text with descriptive text is so many facts in this text reflection that the text is descriptive text. So the text is descriptive text, means not narrative text.
Okay, thank you guys. From all of your group member is doing great, and the answer is great. That is the descriptive text.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay, that is the simulation about the applying the method of inquiry-based learning.
Thank you so much, Lelly, for the explanation. The last is the critical analysis. Will be explained by myself. Critical analysis, this inquiry-based learning can build and improve student critical thinking skills, as well as increase students' intellectuality, encourage students to be more active in this learning process. So, the increase in student critical thinking skills makes students more active, provides freedom for students to express their opinions or feelings, so that can build interactions for students or between teacher and students, or student and students. The learning process with the inquiry-based learning method provides freedom for students. And so, what is the role of technology in this method? In this 21st century, technology plays an important role in all aspects as well as learning methods, one of which is the inquiry-based learning method. The role of technology in inquiry-based learning is that technology can help students obtain more information they need. The utilizations of ICT media such as PowerPoint, applications, and so on in the inquiry-based learning method can increase students' understanding and skills in the learning process. That is the presentations for me, for my groups. Thank you so much. I would like to bring this presentation to a close with the inspiring, wonderful quote from Mahatma Gandhi. Live as if you will die tomorrow, learn as if you will live forever. Me as moderator apologize for the shortcomings. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.